everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about January, all of the things that I read, that I wrote, that happened in life, and just, I don't know, some fun updates. Okay, so I think, first of all, we'll just dive right into the work, writing, publishing, all of that stuff. So the first thing that I completed in January was that I got my past pages done for the odds. Past pages are like the very last step for your book being traditionally published. I don't have to see it again really until it's in final print form. I think I'll probably get my ARCs in the next couple months, which I'm excited for because then I can do a giveaway and people can start reading it. But the odds is done. Tobe is officially out in the world, not like out in the world, but like shipped off to China or somewhere to go be printed. I'm so happy with this book. I'm so proud of this book. It's the most complex plot that I've written to date. I have a conspiracy and a mystery plot line, and it's just so fun. It also takes place in a haunted nursing home because my main character grew up there and she has 53 magically odd grandparents, and it's such a good time. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it. I also did a Barnes & Noble signing this month, which was really exciting. I didn't know if I'd ever get to do Barnes & Noble signing since Barnes & Noble's kind of sent me an email saying they weren't going to stock my books, and then they did, so not complaining, just Barnes & Noble, get it together. But the event was super nice. It was my first time to really get to chat with kids since I was in the kids section. I had a little table set up. I wish I had pictures, but I didn't even think to take any. But I was just in the kids section with a table, and I had coupons for the parents that their kids came up to me to get a book signed or to buy a book or ask about the book. And it was really nice. It was really fun. My local Barnes & Noble, which is in Westchester, Ohio, has been doing the absolute most for The Glass Witch. They have hand sold 40 copies. 40 copies just on their own, just by like being like, hey, we know her and she's local and we love her, so we're like doing the most. And I'm just like, oh, it makes me feel so special and so happy, and like, I don't know, I just really love booksellers. And I also really love librarians, which is a great segue into the next thing that I did this month, which was that I did my first library event, and it was like a kids Q&A workshop. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. It was so fun. There was about 15 kids that showed up, and they all had their parents, and they all had such good questions about writing and reading and just books, and like a lot of them wanted to be writers themselves and were telling me about their stories they were writing. There was a little girl I met there, and her name was Addie, which was super, super cool. And there were a couple kids who had actually like heard about the event, knew I was coming, picked up my book and read it, and then came to me and were like telling me their favorite parts and like asking questions. And like one little girl like demanded I write a sequel, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was just so cool to get to chat with these kids and just to get to talk to them, because I asked them, I was like, what are you guys reading? Like, what are the middle grade books that are really hot in your schools right now? And just getting to learn all those things, see what they're all really into, which by the way, they're all really into Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Amari and the Night Brothers and Nevermore. Like, those seem to be the ones that I was hearing the most about. They also gave me a couple new recommendations that I'm really excited to get into, especially since some of the kids were really into chapter books still, and I love chapter books. I grew up back here, you can kind of see them with the Junie B. Jones series. And there's so many great new chapter books out that I really need to try. This month was also my foray back into my YA thriller that I'm working on. It's going very slowly. It's going very slowly because I'm also working on something else that I'll talk about maybe a bit later. But yeah, my goal for January was just to get into it. I have each chapter, not each chapter, but a lot of the chapters are split up with like little excerpts of something. Some kind of like mixed media is what I'm trying to go for with this book. My goal was just to get the first chapter done and the 2 excerpts on either side of that chapter done. And I did do that. And yeah, I don't know. I'm so scared of getting into the YA query trenches. It sounds terrifying. For those of you that are in there, Godspeed, my friends. Right now, I'm really trying not to focus on like things like marketability and the query trenches and submission and all that stuff. And I'm really just trying to be like, okay, you get the voice of the character in your head and just write the story you want to write, which you would think would be easy since I'm like an extreme plotter and everything is completely outlined and it's detailed already. I just gotta write it into words. But boy, that fear just comes right in. But even with all that, I'm having such a great time. It is so the YA thriller that I want to be reading. So I think that gives me the motivation to keep writing it and to keep working on it. because I love it. I love like a dark, gritty character who's not really a good person. I love a creepy school with something shady going on. I love a good conspiracy, a good mystery subplot. I have a really precious side character, which I'm finding is kind of like my jam. Like I always make my main characters kind of prickly and then my side characters are like super sweet. It's like the grumpy sunshine trope, except it's not a romance. It's always just like a friendship. Alrighty, and then I haven't really even decided if I want to talk about this. Like I'm trying to keep like my cards close to my chest because it's not really actualized yet. I'm just in like the brainstorming phase. But for those of you that have been here a while, you know that I sold my books to Scholastic. I got a 2-book deal. The Glass Witch and the Odds happened to be those books. And I have an option clause, which means the next middle grade age category book that I write, Scholastic gets to see first. And they only need to see basically like a query and a synopsis and a couple chapters to decide if they're gonna buy it or not. So things are in the works, is all I'm saying. I think things are in the works. It is a different genre than I have written in middle grade. One thing I love about starting a new book, there are many things to love about starting a new project, but one thing I love is that I get to challenge myself and try new things that I've never done before. And this is going to be another slew of new things I've never done before. I think that I'm getting to the point now in the brainstorming process where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm really actually starting to like this. And I think that even if Scholastic doesn't want it, I would write it to completion and then, you know, give it to my agent to go on submission widely with other publishing houses. Because I think this could be my story, whether Scholastic wants it or not. Because I just, yeah. Yeah. So this project, as I have it right now, is going to be a middle grade standalone project and a kind of adjacent genre to what I write right now, which is like what? Middle grade, contemporary fantasy, spooky, whatever. And I think it could be brilliant. Like the way I'm seeing it in my head, the way that I'm viewing the final product, I'm like, ooh, that's like a magnum opus middle grade. But of course, you know, right now I just have pencil scratching on a piece of paper. So we'll see. I don't want to talk about it too much yet because like I'm literally in the brainstorming phase and I could totally scrap the whole thing. So there's no point in even mentioning it. But comment down below what genre you think I'm gonna be dipping my toes into the middle grade pool next. Oh, I totally almost forgot this part. That's probably why you're here. I'll probably title the video something to do with this. But film updates. In October of last year, my book, The Glass Witch, went out to a bunch of people who pick up books to movie adaptations for different networks, and it started going out in October to different people. And so I was essentially on submission. It's kind of like the same process of querying and submission in literary terms into film movie stuff. And I finally get to announce that The Glass Witch abysmally died in the submission trenches. So bad. So quickly. So we submitted to 2.0 Entertainment, Apple Studios, Nickelodeon, Netflix, FS Studios, Sesame Workshop Productions, and I think 1 or 2 others. But those were the main ones. And they all came back within the past couple months, giving their reasons why they were stepping aside. I thought I would share a couple of the reasons why the book got rejected. So a couple of them said that they already had too many witch book to movie adaptations in the works, so they couldn't get another one. A couple studios like SF Studios and Netflix both said that they had slashed their children's market in like a quarter, so that they were taking on fewer and fewer adaptations from authors in general. Disney said that the story was too young, that right now Disney is looking to adapt things that can be both for children and youth. I'm thinking like obviously like the Percy Jackson thing where it's like they start out as like 12 and then they go up to like what, 17 or something. I think that's what they're looking for. One of the entertainment studios said that they just in general do not accept witch acceptances, which I don't know if that's like a religious thing or just like a preference thing. And then, oh yeah, that was pretty much it. The other studios were just saying basically the same things over again. They were stepping away from children's to work on adult media, or they were just like completely booked up with witch projects. So that was the short second submission life of Adelaide Good and The Glass Witch. I thought it was really interesting to hear all the reasons for the rejections because I know nothing about this industry, and I kept telling my agent that. I'm like, you have to explain absolutely everything to me like I'm a 5-year-old because I know nothing about film. So she was really great about that, and my film agent was really great about that too, and they both were just like, we'll shift to the odds. Like let's maybe get the odds out there. So whatever, it's fine, you know. That's showbiz, baby. All right, switching gears, let's talk about some life stuff that's been going on. One of the coolest things I started doing this month was becoming Zorro. I started taking fencing classes with my husband. We've been saying for like years that we were gonna take fencing classes and then we just never did it. And for Christmas this year, I was like, let's actually do it. Like, let's actually go do fencing. And so he kind of like surprised me. Surprised, and bought the class and told me about it, and he was like, hey, we start in January, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So we've been doing that. It's been absolutely amazing. It is such a good workout, mainly because you're wearing like 45 layers of clothing, but also because you're in a lunge position for like an hour straight and, you know, swashbuckling. So it's a great workout. It's super fun. We are constantly getting our butts kicked by the 12-year-olds in our class, which, you know, I'm trying not to be highly embarrassed by it, but like, you know, it is what it is at this point. It's so fun. We're having a great time. And I keep thinking like one day if I ever return back to like high fantasy, this would be great to have in some kind of novel, because now I know terms and I know how to do the things myself. Another exciting life thing was that I started for real planning my England trip, which I'm pumped about. In 2020 when I sold the glass, which I always said that like my big gift to myself for selling the book was that I was going to take my dream trip. And it was originally supposed to be like a whole UK tour, including Ireland, but just with my husband's work schedule, it wasn't gonna work out to take like a full 2 weeks to do all this stuff. So we're just doing England now. We'll come back, we'll hit up all the other countries another time, but things are happening. We're really going. We have dates. We have tickets. We're just getting together like hotels and stuff right now. Also, as more things get clarified, I would totally be down for like a meetup or something. Like maybe somewhere at a famous bookstore or somewhere like what, the Piccadilly Circus or something. We could all meet up and like go to bookstores and get coffee if like anyone in England would be down. Yeah, just throwing that out there. Just wanted to see what the interest would be, and then I can figure out details. All right, and also this month I haven't been feeling so great emotionally. Transition here, but I don't know why. I looked back at some of my health journals. I always keep like a health tracker. For the past 3.5 years I've been doing this, and I've seen a pattern that every January and February my pain-free days are so much lower than average. And I always kind of feel crummy in January and February because I'm just always like, why don't I ever feel good anymore? And I don't know why that is still. I feel like right now I am working out and eating better than I have in like 6 months. So it's obviously not anything I'm doing, but maybe it's just like the weather or the air pressure or something in January and February in Ohio that just doesn't sit well with me. So I haven't been feeling that great. I know this is my wrap up and I usually get into it, but I'm just really been having to make sure that I am not beating myself up, because it's hard to stay positive when you're always in pain all the time. So to cope with that, I've been doing a lot of reading and a lot of playing my Switch. And I want to talk to you about my coping mechanisms. First of all, the Switch. Ooblets. Oh my gosh. It is my new obsession. It is my new video game. It is my new cozy game, and it's taken over my life. It's so cute. It's like there's a little bit of farming and a little bit of Pokemon, but it's like ethical in the way that the ooblets just like get to free roam on your farm, and when you battle them, it's a dance battle, not like a ouchie hurt battle. And there's little mushroom guys, and I love them all. You can name them all, and they just love to dance. They just love to dance. It makes me so happy. Okay, and then 3 books that I read this month that made me really happy. The first thing I did was I reread Aragon, like the first book in the Inheritance cycle, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I was kind of nervous because I hadn't read it in a while, and I was like, oh no, what if it doesn't hold up to like my childhood remembering, like my childhood dream? And it kind of did. Like, it kind of still slaps, I'm not kidding. I got the idea to reread it with my critique partner because she also read them as a teenager, and because we saw that Disney bought the rights and they're doing a whole adaptation of all 4 of the books. And so we got really excited and we were like, let's just reread it together. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're reading a Aragon book every month for the first like four months of the year, and I'm having such a good time. The series is very nostalgic for me and it holds such a place in my heart because it is the first high fantasy story that I ever had any experience with. Because of this, I decided to watch the Lord of the Rings movies as a kid, and then I got into the books, and then I got into more books that were like high fantasy and stuff. So like it really just like 1-2 punched the fantasy lover into me, and so I love it so much because of that. Next off, we are going to talk about 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson. This is the 5th book in the Truly Devious series. The first 3 books were an actual trilogy, like you had to read them together. And then she's continuing on the series with like individual standalones just with the same characters. So I'm really enjoying these. These are a murder mystery series. And in this book, our main character Stevie is going to England to study abroad and solve an old murder mystery back from the 90s. I just think these are brilliant. I love the writing style. They're so comical. I really feel like the characters really feel like teenagers, and it was set in England. And so there were so many things where I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm going there, I'm going there. Or I learned about places that I wanted to go or things I wanted to ask about when I was at these places. So it was just a very timely read for me in that manner. And yes, I really enjoy this. This is one of the things that gave me so much dopamine this month. And the very last book I'm going to talk about is Shiver. This is an adult thriller mystery. It's like a isolation closed room. A bunch of people who knew each other 10 years ago are meeting up again, and basically they were all professional snowboarders and they all kind of like spent 4 months together training and stuff for like the Olympics or something. And then someone in their party died and they all kind of broke up because of the death. And then yeah, like 10 years later, someone invites them back to the cabin for like a retreat, but the power gets shut off and things go bad, and then like bodies start dropping. I have to preface this by saying this is not necessarily a recommendation because I don't think this book will be for everyone, because it is truly a little bit ridiculous. But I love me a good ridiculous thriller. By ridiculous, I mean you have to suspend a little bit of disbelief, or you're just gonna be like, why did you do such a stupid thing? But mainly, I was here for the drama. Like, I didn't care about it. I wanted all of these really rich, attractive people to be fighting and hooking up and like stealing from each other and sabotaging each other's chances for the Olympics. Like, it was just juicy. It was juicy. And that was my January, everyone. Full of lots of hits, a few misses, but when there were misses, there were super goofy adult thriller mysteries and ooblets. So I'm not even mad about it. Comment down below and let me know how your Januaries went, what you've been writing, what you've been reading, if anything's been good. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, you can order the Glass Witch now, and pre-order links for the odds are always down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, of course, so you can always hang out with me. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.